sorry. I was trying to do a silent review like the movie, but I'm not very good at that. Guess I'm gonna have to talk. I'm reviewing Azrael.
How can you be hated when you can't be me? How you keep talking, you can't be what I be. You can't move how I move, you can't see what I see. I got the sauce, they all want the recipe. It feel good to know there's only one me.
Azrael is a new action horror film from IFC and SHUDDER, and it is in theaters right now. It is directed by E.L. Katz. It stars Samara Weaving, Vic Carmenson, and Nathan Stewart Jarrett. I'm gonna keep this review as spoiler-free as possible so I don't ruin the film for you if you do decide to see it. Set in a post-apocalyptic dystopian world, Azrael, played by Samara Weaving, escapes imprisonment and is hunted by a group of cultist zealots who don't speak, and she doesn't speak either. Let me start off by saying that because a large segment of the population in this film do not speak, there is very little dialogue in this film. That might turn some of you off. I have no issue with a film that doesn't have much dialogue. I have liked them recently. In fact, I made one without dialogue, and I find them to be very interesting. Let me start by saying that the cinematography is wonderful. It's beautiful. The landscape and the forest here is phenomenal. Not only is the cinematography really beautiful, but the fight scenes are shot very well. There was one fight scene in particular where the cinematography was so good that it actually kind of makes you feel like you're in it because of the way they just did slight little movements, and it was very effective. There is some shaky footage, but it is not very much, and it does help to accentuate the story. The entire film is set in the forest, what feels like in the middle of nowhere. The location feels very isolated, and this group or this segment of the population also feels like it would be a type of people that would isolate themselves because they have certain beliefs. This is not spoiling anything. I'm gonna start off by saying it because like the first slide you see, this is a religious horror film. First slide, after the rapture, a group of people decides to no longer speak because they think that speech is sin. Immediately, you know that you're dealing with some cultist zealots. Costuming and wardrobe, I mean, it's post-apocalyptic. No one's wearing anything that really stood out to me. Nothing's phenomenal. It just is what it is. Fine. I am totally fine with all that. Very accepting. The acting, top notch. I love Samara Weaving. She is fabulous in everything she does. It was interesting to see her in this though because she doesn't speak. She was wonderful, fabulous. I read every single emotion on her face. I could understand everything she thought, everything she processed. I liked the progression of her character, and she even does have an arc, so I really enjoyed that. As far as the story goes, this is definitely a different sort of film. I don't want to give anything away. I don't want to give too much away. Telling you that it's a religious horror, some people might think, oh, you're giving too much. No, if that is the first slide in the film, that is not giving too much away. Because you don't have any dialogue, everything is shown and not told. It's not heavy with the religion because you don't have the dialogue. They show you elements of this cult, how they're having kind of a service, but no one says anything. You know you're in a post-apocalyptic world, and they are isolated, but they have vehicles and gas apparently and guns. So it's interesting how they live with some modern things, and then they live out in the woods in tents, hunting and doing all of that kind of stuff. I feel like they give you the tools to see what is really happening everywhere around the world, what's really going on in the world. If you watch the film and you pay attention to what is happening, everything is written on the walls for you. You can completely figure this film out. You can see where it's going, quite literally. I don't think that the group that Azrael is going up against has ever heard of something called a self-fulfilling prophecy. I do really enjoy the aspect of this story. I found it very interesting, and I didn't even mind the way that it was told. We do come to a conclusion and a resolution, and it is not a resolution that I did not expect. It's one that I could see coming, and I did find the ending very funny, and I laughed and I enjoyed it. The movie really doesn't have any moments of humor throughout it, except for the end. At the end, I found it a little funny. I chuckled a little. Well, and I also chuckled a little at some of the gore, because I'm a freak like that. And let me tell you, the gore. There is quite a bit of beautiful, bloody gore. There is several beheadings. There is eating, gnawing of flesh, gnashing of teeth. It is very bloody. There's a lot of carnage along the way. Here's the thing about this film. Because you're in such a contained, isolated environment, unfortunately, the film felt very repetitive. Instead of exploring the story more as far as what was happening with this cult, we see more of a cat and mouse the entire time. And what I mean by too much cat and mouse is Azrael keeps going back to these people and getting caught, needing to escape, and going back and getting caught and needing to escape. It just felt like I was kind of seeing the same things, slightly different each time. Because of this, I feel like that's what makes this movie good, but not great. Had they focused more on trying to tell the story with the cultists and exploring that a little bit more, I don't think we had to have the whole story from Samara Weaving's perspective. Maybe that could have given us even more insight into this. I will tell you that my favorite part of the film, and what I believe is actually worth definitely seeing, is like the last 30 minutes. It is when you actually start to explore what is happening with the cult, and that was very interesting and very exciting, and I really liked it. Was it boring? No, I can't call this film boring. There's a lot going on, but I feel like this film was limited because of the direction that they took it. So while you start off, it may be a little slow, but there's some nice gore and some nice action and some nice fighting. So there's enough to keep you entertained until you get to the last 30 minutes of this film, which I think that you will enjoy. I want to be clear, I'm not disappointed in this film. I'm very glad I saw it and I really enjoyed it. But it's always hard when you see a film that has a little bit of a repetitive nature, and when you see that the story is just so interesting and it's like you gave little hints, little bits here and there. What could it have been? That's all I'm thinking. Everything did work itself out at the end. Everything went along according to plan. Whose plan? Now that's the question. Would I recommend it? Absolutely. I love so many of the people involved in this, and I think they did a good job. It's a good film. Solid. Are you a Samara Weaving fan? Are you planning on seeing Azrael? And seriously, have you seen The Substance yet? You have to see The Substance. If you're planning on seeing The Substance, or you have seen it, let me know in the comments below. And as always, I really do hope that you have the most amazing day, my spooky darlings. Thank you to my wonderful, amazing Patreon members. I love you and thank you so much for your love and support. Chris Mizictino, Jimmy Hoare, Eddie, Janie McLaren, Jose Reyes, Phil Smith, Jim Kemmerling, Mickey B, and Deal Demon. I should point out that there's no rapture in the Bible, just so you know, but that's irrelevant. I don't care. We'll just pretend that this is some sort of other religion. I've been working on my 31 for October films. It's a lot to put in one video. I'm filming this weekend for a music video, so I've got to have it done. I got to have it done.